Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, March 22nd. Sorry, I got some error messages I'm dealing with. March 22nd. This is the 57th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps others. Helping others helps you. It's a reciprocal action. As you help others, you help yourself. And I'm your host. I'm Sekou. I'm a professional creative and the creator of the HERO Ministry movement, which is all about uplifting and inspiring others, specifically the unhoused community, but not exclusively the unhoused community. And this is season 3. Season 3 is all about doing, all about taking action. And shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. Quick disclaimer, I am not a fitness trainer, personal trainer, or a financial advisor, so do your own research, do your own due diligence. And if this show provides any value, please turning the fan off. Please please comment, please share, please do all those good things. Okay, so all that said, usually when you see me here at this point, I am wide awake and energetic, and I am neither of those things today. The reason that I'm usually wide awake and energetic is because I finished my run just recently, but I haven't run today yet. Now, today is Black Men Run Nashville's during the week run. There's two. There's a Tuesday run in the evening and a Saturday run in the morning. And I would like to tell you that it was my plan to run with Black Men Run this evening, but that was not my plan. That is now my backup plan. My plan was to get up this morning as usual and run my 5K before the show, but my body had other ideas. It's interesting how there's been this kind of trickle out effect from all the energy of this past weekend. In other words, I'm still tired, I guess, from all the activities of the weekend. And so, I went to bed earlier last night and got up later this morning. But that does mean that I get to run with Black Men Run later today, which is important because this is about to be a free flow Tuesday. But it's important that I run with them today in the evening because one of the things that threw me off a little bit in Alabama was running later in the day because I'm so used to morning runs. Like that has been 99% of my runs over the last 293 days have been early in the morning. So I know it doesn't sound like much, but seriously, doing a run later in the day, my body was kind of like, what's going on? What are we doing? Right? So it'll be good for me to practice running later in the day today with Black Men Run. Okay, so that was a bit of a sidebar, but I think it's going to all make sense later. All right, shout out to Tim for checking in live. I appreciate it. Coffee and water right there. I got my water right here with me, Tim. Ready. Okay, so HERO Ministry Movement News. I guess I already started talking about it. Today is day 295, which is mind-boggling. 295. I've been running at least a mile a day every day for 295 days in a row. Well, I guess 294 because I haven't run today yet. But still, 294 days in a row. I was just thinking, as you saw me look off there, I was just thinking, if I got the math right, in other words, that I tallied the days correctly, then my run streak will end exactly on June 1st. So as we approach June 1st, we'll see if my math is right. Because early on, I wasn't really keeping I was trying to keep an accurate count, but I wasn't very specific about it because, again, I only thought I'd be doing this for 30 days. Who knew? Who knew I'd still be doing this all these many days later? So anyway, if all goes correctly, I will be ending this run on June 1st. That'll be exactly day 365. Okay, so I'm going to show some show and tell today. I want to show a run report from right after the iconic run in Alabama. And if you have missed some episodes, you know what I'm talking about. Have no fear. I will recap what I'm talking about soon coming. But actually, this run report will do it well for me. So let me cue that up. This is a run report the day after I did the Selma to Alabama relay. So when was it, the day after? No, it was the same day, just later in the day. All right, so here we go. Check this out. In-car run report. Trying to get the right light. That's not bad, but it's uncomfortable. Anyway, this is day 292. 292 will go down in history as probably the most epic run report ever, because it was the most epic run ever. This is also the latest I've ever done a run report. It's almost 11 p.m. at night. But what a day. What a day. What a day. I don't even know where to begin. How can I condense this into a small amount of time? So let me just say that today I participated in a 51 mile relay race from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama. Yes, this was in homage to Bloody Sunday. And if you don't know what Bloody Sunday is, look it up. But it is the sad culmination of Martin Luther King Jr.'s march to Montgomery, Alabama in 1965. It ended in a very bloody way. So, look that up. But today it was a race that was created in honor of that event and the progress and or lack thereof that's been made since. So epic day. And the relay was 9 legs. Each of the 9 legs had to run multiple miles from Selma to Montgomery, from one city to another city, which was 51 miles. And I was the anchor leg. Here's my bib. It's been beaten up a little bit. I was anchor leg number 9. And text message. And here are my medals, double medals, 2 of 3. Still got one more coming. Medals stacking up just for today. And what else? So many things. And we won. We placed. Our team placed. My leg was the final 3 miles to the finish line. So I was the one that crossed the finish line for the team. So shout out to the team for allowing me that honor to cross the finish line for the team. I hope I did you guys proud. I definitely pushed myself harder than usual. And we got an award coming. We placed. So I'm excited about it. I got to stop talking because it's too much to talk about. Watch my show on Monday because I've got to dedicate my Monday show to this run. So Be Your Own Hero Show, Monday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Check it out. Later. In-car run report. Okay, so that was the run report at 11 p.m. midnight, the day that I did the thing, the relay race. And I took my own advice. You heard me say Google Bloody Sunday in the video. I did that. And so I just want to clarify some things that I said in that video that weren't quite accurate. Hold on, just getting the next video queued up. Okay, so the marches, plural, that happened in March of 1965, there were 3. There were 3 marches. Actually, that's not even quite correct. There were 2 attempts and 1 march. So the first attempt was what became known as Bloody Sunday. And that's when Martin Luther King Jr. and the assembled mass that you've seen in all the photos began their march from Selma to Montgomery, to the Capitol in Montgomery, but they were stopped by state troopers and other racists who beat them and badly injured them. They beat one woman unconscious. And that photo, the photo of the woman, the Black woman who was beaten unconscious, that was taken at the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, was the image that kind of became the iconic image for that day, Bloody Sunday. And it was indeed bloody. Like, you know, we've become a bit removed from these names and titles over time, but it's called Bloody Sunday for a reason. It was very dramatic and traumatic for the people involved. And I just want to make a quick note that in all the images that I've seen of Bloody Sunday, the video footage, the photos, etc., I guess I always imagined that they had traveled a long distance before they were stopped by the state troopers. That Martin Luther King and company and everybody that was there assembled for this march had gotten a long way, but they were prevented from going the final mile. That is not true. Now that I've been to Selma, now that I've seen the bridge, I can tell you that they barely got started. The bridge, the Edmund Pettus Bridge, is right there at downtown Selma. It is the very first step out of town. So we're talking about they only got yards away. Like it's a few, maybe 100 or so yards, maybe 200 yards up to the top of the bridge, and then another 200 down. They barely got 400 yards outside of town before they were attacked and bludgeoned. And that really struck me at how they didn't get far. So there's that. So again, that was the first attempt. And then they made a subsequent attempt that you saw dramatized in the movie Selma, where Martin Luther King Jr. got a bad feeling and turned back. And it was only the third attempt that made it all the way through to Montgomery, Alabama. So I just wanted to make that clear so that we're all clear about the history of this iconic moment, that there were 2 attempts and 1 full march, and none of them were easy. The first was the hardest of them all, and yet they came back to attempt again, and yet they came back to attempt a third time. So shout out to all of our ancestors for doing that. And I say ancestors, and that's really too strong a word, because shout out to Linda. Linda commented yesterday that she remembers Bloody Sunday from when she was a child, that she watched the footage on television and it changed her perspective about race and racial things. And it's important to note that what I said before, the reason that Bloody Sunday was so significant is because it happened to be covered. There were news crews there, there were photographers there, there was coverage of this event, press coverage of this event. Well, this event to be, this march from Selma to Montgomery. And because the press was already there, they covered these racist acts that had been being perpetuated all along. But this time they were televised. This time there were photos taken. This time there was, tangible evidence of it. And that shook up the world and that changed things. And so, shout out to you, Linda, for remembering this incident. And also, that reminds me to add another footnote. I was very excited about this. I don't even know what to call it, this event, but this experience. And I called my dad to talk about it on my drive back. It's about a 4-hour drive back from Montgomery back to Nashville. And he was pretty low key. Well, my dad's not a low key guy. And it took me a while to remember, oh, right, he was there. My father was there at Bloody Sunday. I didn't think about that before I called. But it is very important for us to remember that these things, these huge milestones and iconic moments in terms of race relations in America are not far away. That's just my dad. Like, that's not far away generationally or in terms of time. Like, my dad was there. And so we often think of these things as, they happened so far ago and they don't have the same impact. But no, they are very much still present. And again, the outcome of those marches was the Voting Rights Act, which ended discrimination in voting, allowing Black people to vote. So that was much more than I intended to say about that, but those are things that just came up for me as I was talking about it. So anyway, back to the lecture at hand. I did that race and it was iconic and on so many different levels. And And I've got something more to say about it, as prompted by Rev Melissa. So I think I'm going to say something, and I'm going to play something, and I'm going to say something else. So this is what I wanted to say. When hopefully you all saw my show yesterday, and then you also saw Rev Mel's show, Sit with Rev Melissa. At the end of yesterday's show, Sit with Rev Melissa, we talked on the air about my show, this show, and my run. And Rev Melissa kind of pushed me in a different direction in terms of feeling like there's a sermon, there's a message in my story. And I had been reaching for that, but hadn't been able to find it on my own. But her nudge helped me kind of get there. And so I want to retell some of my story with an emphasis on certain things. So obviously, you know the basics, right? Or if you don't, hear the basics. The basics are there was a 51-mile relay race from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama. We had 9 legs on our team. Each of those legs was responsible for a certain number of miles. I was the anchor leg to run from the outskirts of Montgomery into the capital. And a lot of things went sideways for me. And that's how it felt to me. But here are some of the meaningful moments, if you will, now that I think about it. So first of all, I was able to say yes. I was not supposed to be running in the race. I was just supposed to be there to drive the runners around, to pick them up. But I was able to say yes when someone called out sick without thinking about it. I even had an inkling that that's why my phone was ringing. I had a download that I might be being called into action, and I was. But I was able to say yes easily, like, yes, I can jump in because I've been doing this run streak for so long, 290 some odd days. And so I didn't have to hesitate. I didn't have to be like, oh, wait, I don't know if I can, right? And look at the universe. Like, I did not know that I would be called into service to run in this relay race when I started on June 1st, 2021. Like, I had no idea that there was even such a race, right? And the first time I heard about it, this 51-mile relay race, all the slots were filled. Because when I heard about it, I was like, well, that sounds cool. I'd like to be a part of that. But all the slots were filled. And I was like, all right, well, I can come and be a driver. And yet I was still called into service to be in the race. And I was able to say yes easily because I've been doing this running for all this time. So my point is what? My point is, you don't know what you're being prepared for. You just got to answer the call and accept the preparation without knowing what you're being prepared for. There's no way I could have predicted that there's going to be a race from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery, Alabama, paying homage to Bloody Sunday from 1965, and that I would be conscripted into service for that race. There's no possible way I could have predicted that. And yet I was able to say yes and to be of service because I was answering the continuous call to be of service in this run streak. The run streak has included several charity runs and many different nudges from the universe to keep going, because I could have stopped at any point. But all of the things that I've done up to this point allowed me to say yes. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing was I got lost. Now, that's my phrasing, but maybe that's not the phrasing I should use at all. What happened was, and let me put a strong note on this epic moment that I completely skipped over. It's like, yet another sidebar, it's like our minds automatically defer to the negative spots in a story. And you've got to physically almost wrestle your energy, your attention away from the negative spots to focus on the positive spots, right? So I say that to say there's no reason I should have skipped over this other than I was focused on the things that I felt didn't go so well as opposed to the things that were great and epic and spectacular. So that said, at the very beginning of my run, right after I got the baton, by the way, was a bracelet. It was a Velcro GPS bracelet that we just wrapped around ourselves easily so that people could track our location. Anyway, right after I got the baton, I got a police escort. What? Yeah, a police escort. Now, apparently, everybody on the final leg got a police escort. It is only partial, but still, who has had a police escort before? So as I started running and I neared some corner, a police car pulled out into the intersection and turned its sirens on and blocked all traffic coming either way so that I could run through the intersection without breaking stride. It was amazing. It was incredible. That said, after that, I wasn't sure where to go. I had already asked about it, and the woman was like, oh, no, it's an easy route. Just go up there, make a right, make a left and a right. Shouldn't have trusted that. But anyway, I did that, and I kept looking for a sign. And eventually, I mean, way into running down the street, I finally saw a sign. Like I was panicking a little bit, but I finally saw an arrow. So I followed that arrow, and then I saw another arrow. I was like, okay, cool. So I started following these arrows. And then the arrows disappeared. I got to this big intersection. It was like 4 different streets converging at this intersection, like 4 different ways to go. There's no arrows. I'm like, oh, I'm looking around, trying to find arrows, couldn't find an arrow. Didn't want to break stride, didn't want to break momentum. And so what I did is I looked up. Literally, I looked up. Why was I looking up? I was looking for skyscrapers because to me, that would indicate downtown. I saw skyscrapers and I said that way. And I started moving that way. And one of the comments on Rev Mel's show yesterday was like putting a pin on that. Like you looked up towards the sky, towards the universe, towards God, and found a way. And so I didn't really pay attention to that then, but I'm paying attention to it now. But that's what I did. And looking up guided me. I didn't stop. I didn't want to break stride. So I kept moving, but I decided to look up and I started following the skyscrapers. And that said, I was feeling really bad about getting quote unquote lost because if I didn't go the right route, like if the route that I took to get downtown added extra time, then maybe, we could have placed even higher if I had gone the right route. Like all the shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Anyway, once again, here's another epic moment that I missed by paying attention to the negative, paying attention to me getting lost. Because I ran the route that I did, because I just kept following the tall buildings, I ran past the hotel where everyone else was staying, the hotel where I dropped off all the runners earlier that day. And once I hit the hotel, I was like, okay, I know where the Capitol is from here. Let me go this way. And I made that turn, and lo and behold, 2 of my teammates who had run earlier legs of the race popped out of a door. They popped out of a restaurant door. And they're like, oh, Sekou. Oh. Now they're banging on the window like, come on, guys, let's go. And it's all this pomp and energy and circumstance that I missed in the moment. I'm celebrating now, but I missed it in the moment because I was just like, I'm lost. That like my energy was fixated on the negative. But think about how epic that was. And they're all like, yes, we got this. And they're running out into the street and joining me. And gathering everyone. So the plan was for everyone to run across the finish line with me, all 9 of us, the whole team. So they're scrambling to gather themselves, and I'm chugging along, just trying to get to the finish line, And because when the first guy got up to me, again, I was locked into the negative. I was like, I'm lost. It's the first thing I said, as much as I could say, because I was out of breath. I was like, I'm lost. And so he's reacting to that. And so he's he's telling the other guys, he's pulling out a cell phone. They're all Googling literally the Capitol and trying to find the navigation. And the thing that he says right next to me is, we got to make a U-turn. We got to turn around. Google is telling us to turn around. And as much as I felt consciously like I was lost, like I didn't know the way, like I was off track, subconsciously, I must have had clarity because I said no. He's telling me, listen, man, I looked it up. Navigation's on my phone telling me we got to make a U-turn. And I was like, no. And then the rest of the guys, I didn't see them, but I could hear them yelling. They're yelling, go this other way, go, you got to go the way. And he's listening to them. He says, they're saying we got to go the other way. And I was still like, no. No, there was clarity within me somewhere that I completely didn't pay attention to because I was so busy paying attention to the conscious mind that was like, oh, we're lost. But no, something in me knew the way. Like I had dropped off one person at the finish line earlier that day, and that was enough for me to know the way, my sense of direction, for me to know that no, we can't make a U-turn. That's not gonna do right. No, we can't shift. We got to keep going this way. And I was right. Eventually, I got there. Eventually, we got there with them following me because something in me knew. So how important is that? That even though I felt like I was lost, even though I couldn't see any more arrows, that there was something guiding me surely to the finish line. Surely to the finish line. I was clear that we were headed to the finish line before any of them were. Because we got to a place where I was like, yep, there it is. I remember that from when I dropped the guy off earlier today. There it is. But they're still asking, where's the finish line? And I'm like, there, like I know. And so it's very important for me to have gleaned that understanding because I spent almost all of the 4 hours back from Montgomery to Nashville trying to get my mind right. But I couldn't help slipping into those negative spaces of, not doing enough. Should've, could've, would've. Should've, could've, would've. All over again. And even then, as I tried to push myself towards thinking about the experience more positively, I didn't get to where I got to today. And so it's important for me that I got there. It's important for me that I got there. I'm grateful to Rev Melissa for even just saying that there's a sermon, that there's a lesson in what I said, which invited me to take a closer look at the story and find these gems. So to bring it full circle for you, and even when you're feeling like you're lost, even when you can't see the signs anymore that was so clear before, like you've gotten used to seeing signs, now you don't see any, that doesn't mean that you're lost. Or if it means that you're lost, you still are on your own GPS. Your GPS internally is still working. You just got to follow spirit. Following spirit will get you there, but you've got to get past all the nonsense at the top of your mind. It's like, I don't see any more signs. There's no place to go. I don't know what to do. Don't quit. Don't stop moving, and just make the best decision you can at the time to keep moving forward and trust and believe that your internal spiritual GPS is working. It's still on. It's still activated. It's still getting you there. All right. Now I had like 20 other things I wanted to talk about, but apparently I used all my time to talk about that. But that was a very big lesson for me. I felt frazzled and lost, but yet I was dead on course. And if I hadn't run the way that I ran, I wouldn't have run past my teammates who had that magical moment of seeing me run past them and were able to join me and come to the finish line. So, ashe, and ashe. So I may keep unpacking this experience over the rest of the week. I do have some things I'd like to say about abundance and finances and the stock market and the how-to guide. So I'm going to try to weave it all in. But right now it's time for prayer time at 10:15. And then at 10:30, it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa. I'll be producing that show, and maybe I'll pop in to say a word or two. And again, I'm grateful to Rev Melissa for pushing me in the direction of this being a sermon. Ashe. So keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect. Oh, I didn't even play the video. All right, I'll play the video tomorrow. I have a video of me crossing the finish line and then something to say about it. So we'll do that tomorrow. All right, later.